This isn't just another podcast. It's a movement, a global wave of women from Nairobi to Nashville, Seoul to Sao Paulo, stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Women who are ready to be seen, to be heard, to be unmuted. I'm Anjuli Marshall, an award-winning ABC and NBC journalist and speaker, turned business strategist, coach, and mom. My mission? To amplify the voices of women who were never meant to stay silent. One woman, one voice, one story at a time. So go ahead, put on your comfy pants, grab a coffee, and maybe the remote. Are you ready to press the button? Unmuted starts right now.
Hello, and welcome back to the Unmuted podcast. I am your host, Anjuli Marshall, and we are bringing you the stories of women who lead with wisdom, with courage, and global perspective. I'm very excited because today we have a very special guest. Dr. Coral Ho is a cross-cultural leadership expert. She's an educator, a coach, and a champion for women's authenticity on the world stage. Dr. Ho's career has taken her from Asia to America and beyond, developing new blueprints for whole person leadership and mentoring women to rise unapologetically in every single arena. I'm very excited that she's here today. I was going to say good morning. I'm not sure what time it is for you right now, but hello.
Afternoon.
Not morning, is it?
Happy to be here, no matter what the time.
No matter what the time.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Dr. Ho. I'm so happy that you're here. How are you?
Very good.
Good. So I'm excited because I know that a lot of women are going to benefit from hearing your story. And I'm excited to hear your story because I've read so much about you. And so this is the time. I would love to hear your story. Can you tell that to us right now?
Sure, Anjali. What people hear about me is really about my invention and the AI program that we developed. But this is a good platform because everybody knows somebody with dyslexia. And that's what we deal with. It's 1 out of 5 people worldwide. And so I started working on this because so many mothers came to me in my neighborhood because the children were having all sorts of language problems and learning difficulties and dyslexia at school. And if I can tell a story now, then maybe it'll help because it's really multiplied thousands and millions of times in lots of households. So my friend told me years ago that her son was struggling with reading at school. And so I asked her, what are you going to do about it? And she said, I don't know, but somebody said maybe I can go for an evaluation. So I asked, who's going to do this? How much is it going to cost? And she said $2,000. I said, wow, $2,000. How long is it going to take? Who is this person? And from that, then I found out that, when it comes to dyslexia, you have very expensive evaluations. Parents don't know where to turn to or what even to ask. So when they eventually come to me, they say that they had been searching for a long time, but didn't even know the word dyslexia. And even after that, when I was able to evaluate this son of my friends, there was no solution at that time. And I was new to this problem. And so I started reading on it and found that when you can't take care of a reading problem by 3rd grade, that's the way it's going to be through the school, the child's school career and life.
Wow.
And yes, and a lot of people don't know that. And so what we have started to do on our website, Dysolve.com, is Dysolve, is to put a lot of research information out there, education. All right, what is dyslexia? What are learning disabilities? How does that impact the whole child? And what can you expect? And how do you evaluate programs? And because it really takes away from family life, the quality of home life, and sometimes it's really stresses parents. Sometimes it breaks up families. So we've seen all sorts, and so yes, I'm glad I'm here to tell people that they are not alone because there's so many of them. We have parents coming to us, grandparents coming to us, and even people who are a lot older, people in the 70s and 80s. They are still struggling with it, and they still want an answer.
So, Dr. Ho, when you say they're struggling with it and they want an answer, like I'm thinking about the woman out there who may be in her 40s or even 50s
Yeah.
and beyond,
Right.
who may struggle with this, and just like you said before, didn't have a word or a term for it, didn't understand or know anyone else who was struggling with this. What would you say to that one person to give a bit of hope and help them create some type of plan?
Yes. First, they want an answer. Why am I struggling? Why am I having such a hard time compared to other people? Right? Isn't reading supposed to be natural? And in the first few years at school, you pick it up. So they want an answer. And with Dysolve, which is a custom-built AI system, you find out the source of the processing problem. So it has to do with processing the brain and how the brain processes language. And so there are all sorts of inefficiencies. That's what we call them. Inefficiencies because we can measure them. But the problem is to find out for each person, where are they in the linguistic system in the brain? And so they want the answer, right? So the next question is, can I take care of it? So what we have done, for the past 8 years is to correct it in children. And it is possible to correct this language processing problem, person by person. And that's why we use AI, because you can do it, right, even though there's so much individual variations, across the population.
So you're incorporating AI. At what point in the process, when you started to create this entire process for people to help people, at what point did you think to yourself, we need AI to do this, or we want AI to do this? How do you incorporate the two?
Yes, very early on. I started getting into it and I was curious because I have a PhD in linguistics, and that's why I work on language disorders. And immediately I saw the heartbreak, what the mothers were going through it. And you know what? We saw in the early years a lot of single mothers because the disability was just so intense and stressful that it would just break up families. So that happened a lot. And then where could the mothers turn to? So we needed to find an answer. And then, I was doing it one-on-one in person. But then when I realized the magnitude of the problem, with 20% of the student population facing it, how could I possibly take care of even, a fraction of that? So it had to be AI, but it needed the technology to be there for us to realize what we had conceptualized. And so that we developed it, and now it's being used in schools, for the past few years.
What is the process of incorporating this program into schools? Because you're talking schools across the country, is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Would you, and I'm assuming also that we're talking public schools across the country.
Right.
Have there been any challenges with the perception gap between this is what's happening in schools, explaining this to schools, this is what's happening in schools, this is where the families are, and we need to meet the gap, meet the people in the middle? Has there been a challenge with schools?
Yes, every step is a challenge, right? Yeah. No matter what the journey is, yes. And so the first stage is education, right? One, to educate the public. What is dyslexia exactly? Because it's very confusing. And some researchers will define it one way, other researchers will define another. Others will say, don't even use the term, just say reading disability or word reading difficulty. So there's a lot of that going on. And yet at the same time, you need to take care of the child today.
Yeah.
You can't wait for the future. And so the education has to be there. And what we have developed with AI is the problem behind the scenes is very complex. What's going on in the brain is very complex.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that the interface or what the child deals with has to be complex. So we made it plug and play. It's all game based, game by game, to evaluate and then to correct the condition. So that's the thing, I think, too, that schools need to understand, that just because it's a complex problem doesn't mean that it has to be hard to implement, right? There's no integration with the curriculum or the IT system that schools use. There's no orientation for teachers. Just put the child in front of the Chromebook or laptop and play. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
There's no need to
Yes.
overcomplicate this.
No, right?
Yeah.
Because that's our responsibility, right? As the developers,
Right.
just make it as simple as possible so they can be used. So there are these things that have to be done, right, to change perception, but also for everyone, right? Whether you have somebody with dyslexia or a learning disability or not, you are involved in this problem because this is the biggest and most expensive problem in education. Why? It's literacy. And so, when you consider how much we spend on special education, is over $120 billion a year in the US, right? People don't realize that. So special education is very expensive.
Yeah.
And dyslexia is the biggest category. It's about 1/3 of that.
Wow.
Right. And yet the methods that are used are ineffective. So that's why the child continues to struggle right through school. You've got to see it at the other end too. Let's look at the prison system.
Yeah.
Half of prison inmates in this country have a problem with reading, right, and learning disabilities. So, you can see, right, where the problem originates and how it might end up really tragically. And prison inmates wrote to us when they heard about Dysolve.
Really?
Yes, because they want this in prison, right? But there are all sorts of red tape that we have to get through
Absolutely.
to get to them. But it would be really, really a big change, and so that they don't continue to stay in that cycle.
Dr. Ho, do you feel that there's enough care and compassion for people in the prison system right now to receive to receive your services?
You mean the inmates or
the inmates?
The inmates? They do want it. You see, they don't want to stay in that, and
Of course.
we got one letter that was 15 pages long, and this person in his 60s wrote in pencil, and he said that, in school, teachers would tell him, you're not trying hard enough. He said, you don't understand what the situation is for him, right?
Wow.
And so he went through life that way. And I can imagine how many hours it must have taken him to write that 15-page letter.
Yeah.
Right, when he has trouble with reading and writing. But, he felt it, and he said that perhaps it's too late for him, but it cannot be too late for others who are younger.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
What kind of results have you seen once a school has committed to bringing in your company to help children with dyslexia? Have you seen quick results? Is it almost an immediate thing?
That's the thing, right? We need schools to implement it well. That is, make arrangements so that the child gets regular engagement at school. And it doesn't always happen, right? It depends on the setting. And we see that some schools are really committed. And then they are surprised because some of the students have been struggling for 5 years or more.
Oh my
right?
goodness.
In middle school, they're already in middle school and they still cannot read, right?
Wow.
And the schools sometimes they are committed because they've tried everything in the toolbox. That's what they tell us. They've tried everything in the toolbox, nothing works, and they tried it all over again the second time, and it still doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then what happens? A couple of months of Dysolve, right? First, in the first month, you find out where the processing problems are. So there's no other program that finds out where the processing issues are. So you find that, then Dysolve AI just sets about correcting it. So in these cases that the schools report to us, they say that the other teachers of those students start to notice changes. First, that they wouldn't hesitate to read out loud. They would volunteer. Whereas before they'd hide, they'd hide because they couldn't do it. And then to do it without a lot of errors, and then being more fluent in their reading, and also just being more cheerful because now they can do things rather than fight the teachers, being resistant. So the whole person changes, right? I can't guarantee that it can happen with everyone in just a couple of months, right? But the fact of the matter is, Dysolve AI doesn't have trouble finding where the processing issues are and then setting about correcting it. And that's why I actually have a book, if you don't mind. This is really for parents.
Please,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, Dyslexia Dissolved, right? And my husband and I wrote this for parents because there's so many fights at home. The child's not being able to do all the homework, right? Teachers are complaining, parents are trying when they get home to get the child to do the work, right? But then it just ends up being some kind of a fight, and that's the evening for them, right? So that's why I talk about the quality of home life. So first, you got to understand your child, right? Language processing seems very far removed from behavioral and psychosocial issues, but they're all related because, when we're awake, how much of our time is spent processing language? Almost all the time, right? And so when the brain can't deal with it, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And so you can imagine the children just feeling this overwhelming, anxiety, this anger that they cannot do what others can do. And so there are all these fights, right? So we wrote this to show the different facets of it. But you know what? There are 10 cases in this book. Where are the children now after Dysolve? They went on, most of them were in middle school at that time. When they went to high school, they were in honors and high honors. So
my goodness.
Their reading difficulty. And now a lot of them went to college and have graduated from college.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow. I am wondering about warning signs. So if a mom is watching this and she's thinking, I have noticed something, but I don't know if that's what it is. What are some warning signs that moms can, or parents in general, can be looking out for their kids?
Yes. So first, trust your instinct, right? Because you know your child best, right? So other people may be saying something else, but they don't spend as much time as you do with your child, right? And to be able to see all aspects. When they're in school, they only play a certain limited role, right? How much of the time do they actually get to talk to teachers and, about what? They're all just pretty prefabricated things that they'll say, right? So it's the parents, right? So when you think that there is a problem, that there probably is something that you should check out. And that's why we want to set up this website. We're going to revise it. So in the fourth quarter, it's going to have a lot more information for parents, teachers, and all that, right? So the warning signs for language processing, it could be that they have trouble remembering everything that's said to them, right? Not following instructions, right? And they can be very contradictory behaviors that are so puzzling. Like, for example, they can be articulate in speech, use big words, but cannot spell, cannot read simple words, right? So we wonder, why is there this problem? What else can you see? Sometimes they may say the wrong words, retrieve the wrong words. They may have trouble just learning to spell the simplest words like the, THE, no matter how many times you tell them, no matter how old they are.
Yeah.
So these are some of the warning signs. But because it is language, it doesn't have to be tied to reading or writing. It will be all the four functions, right? Speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am wondering because I look at you and I think, wow, there's so much admiration for who you are and what you've accomplished and what you're doing, the heart behind what you're doing. You have to have a team of people that are helping with this because this is such a huge problem. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, is she overwhelmed with all of this? Because this is a huge problem. And so how do you personally look at the scope of this, step back and say, okay, here's how we're going to tackle this? How have you done that?
Actually, I'm an intensely private person, but because of this invention, it pretty much thrust me into the public arena. And it is a fight that we have to take, right, to change how things used to be to this new way of taking care of a very serious problem for a
Yeah.
lot of people. And so I think I have to give credit to my husband, right? Because it's hard to do things alone, and so it helps when there's a partner, and he's been the greatest partner. So because for the past 10 years, what we've been struggling, right, to really build this and get it out there.
Yeah.
There are days when or nights really, so why are we doing this? Because it's so exhausting, we're fighting everybody. And he
Wow.
said very simply, it's the right thing to do.
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Right. So I think it's important to remember, right? If we have the capability, we have the resources to do the right thing, then it is our responsibility to do it. Right. But it is a monumental task on some days.
My goodness. That's like drop the mic, like brilliant to remind yourself this is the right thing. As long as you're doing the right thing, like just keep doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I do know that so for women who are navigating cross-cultural identities,
Mm-hmm.
I know that you've mentored a lot of people. And you also have shaped this approach that you call whole person. Can
Mm-hmm.
you talk a little bit about that and explain what that is?
Well, maybe, as a woman, as a professional, having to juggle all these things, right, and then deciding what to sacrifice and all that. Let me approach it this way, right? So, when I was much younger, when I was a mother of two young children, my friend was in the same position, right? Both professionals. And she very wisely told me, you can have everything, just not all at once.
Yeah, that's great.
And I remember that, I so prioritized, right? And then, it worked out pretty well for me.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
That's
Mm-hmm.
brilliant. How do you help equip women to thrive when they do want all of the things, but they may
Mm-hmm.
have the challenge in this season of my littles are little. I can't go and do all the things that I was doing 5, 10 years ago. I have to
Mm-hmm.
do it like bit by bit right now because I'm responsible for these little people here. How do you help women or what would you say to women who have these big dreams in their hearts of helping and doing the right thing, but maybe it's just not the right time?
Yes. Um, and I think it is very important to plan and see your future, even though you're just in the present, and that's really far away,
Yeah.
because then you can decide, right, what to take on
Mm,
at the moment. And what you don't want to do is to let some things go so that they become a bigger problem you have to deal with later in life, right? How do you get that stability in life, right? Because some of the things that you want to do, the big missions, right, can only be done if you are not tied down by other things that would just take up all your time and energy.
yeah. You work a lot in women's leadership globally. And that fascinates me because I know that you are a world traveler. There's so many different, and I'm sure that there's so many different things that you've received, like just gifts, mental, emotional gifts that you've been able to receive from various countries. So are you able to share any stories that you may have on women leaderships or mentees that you've been able to help in really different situations than what you've experienced here in the States?
That's a very good question. Maybe one way to do it is just march ahead. If you have, a very strong, right, commitment, a mission, right, a belief in something, right, don't let your gender, your age, right, the country that you come from hold you back. Just march ahead until you hit, a challenge, then deal with that.
That's great. How do you prioritize authenticity and well-being, whether it's at work or at home or in your community?
I think perhaps, like I said, having, strong relations, and it doesn't have to be a lot of people, but some people that you can always count on, no matter what. Um, People that you can be very honest with, and they'll be very honest with you. That helps. Also, I guess physically taking care of yourself very well, that makes a big difference. So I swim, I try to swim every day, a mile at least, that because it's almost like therapy for me. It allows me to just reflect on things and just let some things go.
Have you always been a swimmer?
I guess so. That's what I like doing because you don't have to make decisions. Not like tennis, you have to be right on your feet.
You're just going.
Literally, right? That's right.
What would you say is a trend that you've noticed in women's leadership globally that really excites you right now?
I think mental well-being comes up a lot nowadays, just all over, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think people are beginning to realize how important that is. And when we deal with dyslexia, it's the same thing because that part is a big aspect of what children and adults have to deal with. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you could offer one lesson to women who are feeling like they're sort of in between, or maybe they're hesitant to lead when they know that they could be, but they're just not quite sure how, what would that lesson be for them?
Find a mentor. Find a mentor. I think that and just educate yourself. Education gives you the confidence, all right, that whatever challenges may come your way, what the whole situation is. Right, you need to know, right? Just be informed.
That's really great. You have a mentor then, and I'm sure that this is not your first mentor. Am I correct?
Yes.
Take me back to your first mentor. What did you learn? What was the lesson that you would say you took, a life lesson that you took from them?
Learn everything. Pretty much. My mentor was very remarkable as an intellectual. Just learn everything. And so I could mention anything, and somehow he would just go all over the universe, with that one piece of information. It's just amazing, to see that brain at work, and so that's why I went for my PhD. I wanted to learn to think like that. Because after getting a bachelor's, I was thinking, oh, I was pretty cocky. Oh, well, this is knowledge, right? I can get it, I can absorb it, but I didn't realize that there are many other levels of thinking.
That's great. Okay, so you've had that was your first mentor. How did that relationship happen, and how did you choose that mentor, or would you say that the mentor chose you?
I chose a mentor.
Okay.
He was my doctoral advisor.
Mm,
hmm
okay.
hmm
Okay. So how should a woman who's hearing this maybe for the first time, obviously mentorship it's not a new concept or a new principle, but for someone who's never considered it, how would you suggest that they take the first steps in finding a mentor?
I suppose when they get engaged in different activities, so then the first thing is try, right? More things, right? Move outside of the regular sphere, then you'll encounter more people. And then, you might develop uh, some kind of a bond with that person. So I can talk about my being a mentor myself to other young women. And
Hmm.
so, how did I get to do that? And that's because I saw the potential in them and wanted to do more. And so then we would do collaborative projects, and sometimes I lead, but then more often that I'll put them into that leadership position and just support them. And that's how then they got to go much further than they thought they would.
How would you
Mm.
define mentorship?
Mentorship. Um, it starts off as, it's an unequal relationship at first, right? Because one person, the mentor, has more expertise, perhaps um, more knowledge, but
Mhm.
at some point, then it becomes collaborative, right? And then they speak like equals. They challenge me and all that, and eventually, I hope that they'll surpass what I'm able to do. Right? I think every teacher also hopes for that, right?
Sure.
That the students will surpass them, right? And then society as a whole will advance. hmm
That's great.
hmm
Oh my goodness, Dr. Ho, I could just talk to you all day. Your wisdom is astounding, and I'm so grateful that you agreed to sharing your wisdom here today with all of us. So thank you for being here. You've crossed borders, you've broken barriers, and so I'm just really grateful that we have the privilege of speaking with you. And now, remember when I told you I had something really fun?
Uh-oh.
That's exactly what you said before. Uh-oh. I promise you, this is going to be so much fun. It's
Okay.
called Hot Mic. So it's
hmm
15. Okay, so get relaxed, get loose, get loose. 15 fun, strategic, and completely random rapid fire questions that are just for you. Are you ready?
Okay. I'll probably take my time.
The only rule here is there's no guessing or thinking like too long about it. It's the first thought that comes to mind, whatever it is. Okay. All right, here we go. Number
Mm.
one, the country that has most shaped your perspective.
The US. Mm.
A leadership value that you hold dearest.
Honesty.
A ritual that grounds you before public speaking.
Drinking tea.
Oh, that's a good ritual. Good tea. A book that changed your thinking.
Book that changed my thinking. Well, I have to think about that one. Uh, hmm. Hard to say which one it would be, but one that's very good along the topic that I'm talking, the dyslexia debate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Food that reminds you of home.
Chicken curry.
Ooh, love chicken
Mhm,
curry.
mhm.
Um, Untranslatable word from your heritage that you love.
Sao. It's like hard to
Untranslatable.
translate, right? Something like regret, like regret.
Okay,
Regret.
got it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. A mentor who had the biggest impact on you.
Yes. my advisor.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could talk to any historical woman, female leader, who would it be?
I'm taking my time. You know why? Because I've changed my mind on some of them
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
after I found out more. So yeah,
Okay. Okay.
Angela Merkel.
Okay.
So
And why?
yeah, why? Because she's competent, decisive, um, empathetic. There are all the things that I think we want in a leader.
That's great.
Yeah. Mhm.
Love that. A weekly habit that helps you to recharge.
Swimming,
I
gardening
love
too.
that. And gardening.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Now, when you talk about gardening, are we talking flowers? Are we talking fruits and vegetables? What are we talking?
Flowers for me, fruits and vegetables for my husband.
Okay. I love
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Love that. Favorite form of self-expression?
Dancing, I would say dancing, but I haven't been doing it for a while now. Yeah.
Type of dance.
Uh, just all types, but I did get trained in ballet. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Hmm.
that. That's
Hmm.
beautiful. A moment that you felt seen as a leader.
I guess showing up on TV.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. A piece of advice you wish that you had received earlier.
Mhm. Don't sweat the small stuff. You,
Mm,
you you realize that when you become a parent, right?
you do.
A lot of things have to go, and then now I'm at the stage where we have this big baby dissolve, right? Don't sweat the small stuff.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Mm.
An end of the day wind down ritual.
Watching TV with my husband.
Love it. Favorite shows?
Mm. Oh, can't mention it.
Can't mention it. Okay. Okay. All right. Well,
No,
tell
I'm
me the
just joking.
genre. Are you
Mm.
mystery? Are you suspense?
We like thrillers.
Oh,
Thrillers, yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last
Mhm.
question.
Mhm.
One wish for the next generation of women leaders.
Courage. So you just need courage, right?
Mm,
I think they have the intention, right? They have a lot of things, good causes to fight for. Now, courage, right? They're going to be things that look like huge mountains. You just have to go for it. And
mm,
that's what I think I learned as an entrepreneur, right? The mountains loom ahead of you, and a lot of people will just back off. But this one, we cannot back off. We have to solve dyslexia. And so there's a mountain after mountain after mountain that will just scale.
mm. That's fantastic. Dr. Ho, thank you for modeling what it means to lead across borders, stories, and seasons. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for the work that you're doing to help solve the problem of dyslexia. I'm assuming it's not just in our nation, but it's everywhere because this is a global
Yes,
problem.
yes, it is. All
Yeah.
right. And since, it's July, when mothers go back to, or the children go back to school, and then we're back into the new school year, just look out for AI because it's going to change a lot of things that are happening in school.
That's great.
Hmm.
These are the times that we're in, and
Yeah,
I'm grateful that you are not fighting it. You're working with it to make it better for us, for all of us.
yeah,
Thank you
for the
so much
good stuff.
for the good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. Well, if this conversation reminded you of your own leadership journey or it gave you courage to speak up in your own space, please share this episode with somebody who is rising beside you. Dr. Ho, where can listeners connect with you, learn more about your journey, and help in the fight against dyslexia?
Go to Dysolve.com. It's Dysolve.com and connect with us. And like I said, we are revising our website so that there is the opportunity for advocacy. If you're interested in that, community engagement. Right now, as it is, we have a lot of information for parents about these learning disabilities that we were talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And do you have, are you on social media? If anyone wants to connect with you there.
LinkedIn, under
LinkedIn.
my name. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being
All
here.
right.
And guess what? You are now a part of the Unmuted family. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you. High five. We did it. How was the fun and the surprise that I had? Was you were really nervous initially, but it got better, right?
Like I said, I'm a very private person. I usually don't talk about myself.
I'm so glad you did. It was fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Ho, for being here. And thank you all for watching. This has been educational, but also this is fantastic to be able to share Dr. Ho's story and to be able to join in the fight against dyslexia with her. Thank you again for watching Unmuted, and we will see you on the next episode.
What you just heard wasn't just a story. It was a spark, a glimpse into the heart of a woman living for purpose, and a reminder that when one woman shares, another woman wakes up to what's possible. These aren't just conversations, they're catalysts. I'm your host, Anjali Marshall, and this is the Unmuted Podcast, where voices rise, stories connect, and purpose finds its volume. Until next time, friends, stay unmuted.